Hello, I'm Christy Welch, Direct Marketing Specialist with the Ohio State University South Centers, and I'm pleased to welcome you to our virtual 2021 Agritourism Ready Conference. We are sorry we can't be all together on a farm this year as we've done in the past, but we do think that we have some great information from a variety of presenters for you. So I hope you enjoy watching the presentations. Be sure to submit any questions that you have about the presentations to the email address you received your registration confirmation from. And then we hope you can join us live on March the 18th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. online. And our presenters will be with us and able to answer your questions live at that time. And I wanted to thank the Wright and Moore Law Company, as well as Ohio Farm Bureau Federation of Ross, Pickaway, Hocking, and Fairfield counties for collaborating with us again this year to bring you some great information about Agritourism Ready here in Ohio. And again, we look forward to seeing you March 18th at 6:30 p.m.
So hello, everyone, agritourism operators, farmers, and partners, friends of Extension from all over Ohio. My name is Ryan Conklin. I am an attorney with Wright and Moore Law Company, and today we're going to be talking about agritourism and COVID-19, balancing the health of your business with public health objectives. Unfortunately, in the last year or so, this has become a part of our lives, and we've had to really adjust on the fly and be able to do new things and run our businesses in new ways that we never thought we would have to deal with. So what I'd like to do is talk a little bit today about where we're sitting now in February, March of 2021, what the next couple of months look like, and what the most common issues that we're expecting agritourism operators to encounter. But before I dive into my content, I do want to thank Ohio State Extension, Rob Leeds, Christy Welsh, Eric Barrett, Peggy Hall, and the team that they work with Extension. So a phenomenal program that they put on each year, and our office is very grateful to be a partner with them. So glad to see the agritourism program is back for another year. So starting off, I've got 6 questions that I've identified as ones that would be important for operators to be aware of, or ones that I would expect agritourism operations to be curious about. Some of the preliminary ones, what are the current rules? How are things currently being governed? Then what happens, from a liability standpoint, if a customer or employee becomes sick around our farm or around our business. And then we get into 2 of probably the more tricky ones here. Do I need to make someone wear a mask, and what to do if someone is already vaccinated? We're probably a couple months late on how to handle the mask part, but the vaccination part, we are, I think, right on the forefront of the issues that operators are going to encounter here in the coming months. Then we'll wrap up there. What are the risks associated with not following state, local, federal rules? And then how can I reduce that risk for my farm? So it wouldn't be an attorney's presentation if I didn't have disclaimers to start off with here. So I am a licensed attorney in Ohio. If you're tuning in from out of state, be sure to check these recommendations with your local counsel. But for those of you that are tuning in from Ohio, this would all be applicable and acceptable to you. But being an attorney, I am not a public health expert. I am I won't even try to be well versed in the world of public health, epidemiology, medical field, all those areas. I'm not trained for it. But from the legal standpoint, we've had to bring ourselves up to speed and become educated in these areas in the last year or so. As we have become educated and learned about them, one thing that has been very consistent is those laws and those rules have changed very much on the fly, almost on a week-to-week basis. I can remember for our own office, where we would basically hold every 2 weeks a meeting to talk about our COVID protocols and what to do. So even in the time since this was recorded, the laws or the rules could have changed. One kind of basic premise of my discussions, I'm never going to recommend violating a law or violating a rule. We're not here, I'm not here today to talk about whether this is constitutional, whether executive action taken here by this governor or elsewhere is acceptable. What my ethical duty to do is to say, look, these rules are in place. Trust the people who put them together, and they're just trying to do their job. And I'm not going to recommend violating a law as a result. And I'm not going to talk about COVID politics. I think that would be frowned upon by the powers at Ohio State. But the political parts of COVID have been a part of the conversation since the virus came about, and I'm not here to talk about those today. What we're going to really hit on is, again, that balance between the health of your business and the health of your customers and employees. So with that, now that I am fully disclaimed and fully protected, let's get rolling into our key questions. So my first one, what are the current rules for agritourism facilities? So the big one that I'm going to highlight first is that House Bill 606 that was signed into law back in September. So this is addressing liability for employers and for businesses as it relates to customers and employees. So this provides a strong layer of protection for those enterprises. And I'll explain more about that here in just a minute in another slide. As far as gatherings, we're still under this limit of 10 plus people, not in the same household, not being permitted to gather together. And that is from an order back in November. But the orders from the state did carve out some exceptions for wedding receptions, which might be a popular topic or popular area of interest for attendees or for viewers on this call and this program. So there are certain rules that have to be followed with those wedding receptions regarding spacing, mask wearing, table allocation, chairs at tables, areas like that. My guess is if you're operating in this area and have hosted wedding receptions in the last couple of months, you are well aware of those rules. Outdoor activities would still be unimpacted. The science and the guidance that we've received from the state and from local groups is being outside, very low risk to do. So for agritourism businesses, that's a really good sign with so many of our activities taking place outdoors. The mask mandate is still in effect. I probably should have been more choosy with my wording there. I don't know whether it's a mask mandate or a mask recommendation or a mask challenge at this point, but the general consensus is mask wearing has had a positive impact on reducing virus impact and transmissibility for quite a while now. So we're going to treat that as still being in effect. And then local health districts, they have been under tremendous strain for a year now, trying to balance the testing components, now the vaccination part, but also enforcement of their own unique rules. So even though I might be talking generally here about state rules, you could have local health districts in your areas that are governing something completely different for you. Okay. So the first, or next question. So back to our House Bill 606 that we mentioned a moment ago and how it provides protection from liability at the state level. So this law shields businesses, employers from claims against customers, employees, or parties in the public or related to those customers and employees who have patronized your business. So this has been an important part of the reopening process and the comfort process and returning to normal is businesses wanting to be sure they're not going to go bankrupt in tort lawsuits because somebody came to their business bought something or participated in an activity and got sick as a result. So what the law carves out, though, is one pretty clear exception, and this is one that is important for business owners. If you have exposure, contraction, or transmission that occurs from reckless or intentional misconduct or wanton and willful misconduct, that breaks down those liability protections. So this is something, and it's a pretty high standard legally to meet. If you're crossing into the intentional misconduct or wanton and willful misconduct, you're doing something like packing, 300 people in a really small space with no distancing and not enforcing mask requirements at all, not taking proper sanitary measures. Any one of those combination factors taken together is probably suggestive of intentional misconduct or wanton and willful misconduct. So the important part is to be making that reasonable effort to protect your customers and protect your employees. The causation problem is another major issue, and this is where, in legal speak, when I say causation, I'm saying proving that your actions as a business owner, as an employer, cause that person to get sick. Being able to create that link between that person being on the premises with your farm or with your employees and that person getting sick. And the causation problem is challenging because that person most likely was out doing other things, coming in contact with other people. So how do we know that they got sick at your specific place? That's a hard thing to do. But again, don't ignore the protective standards here that are already in place and that are trying to make sure people stay healthy throughout the virus here while it's still a problem. So keep acting reasonably. Don't step into that reckless or willful misconduct area. Next one, do I need to make someone wear a mask? As I'm sure by now you've seen plenty of viral videos that have come out of businesses or employees confronting someone who's not wearing a mask in their business. And those generally haven't gone well. They go viral because of all the wrong reasons. But this has really emerged as one of the more challenging scenarios for business owners like yourselves to deal with. And there really isn't a good solution to this one. There's no recipe or checklist that I can give you that's going to say, do this, and everything will be great. So instead, you've got to take it on a case-by-case basis. So if you do end up confronting a customer who isn't wearing a mask and you require that mask to be worn on your property, in your business, that approach has to be as calm and collected as you can be. And you have to maintain that level all the way through. And sometimes it's very hard to do because these are very passionate and very emotional conversations that occur. But do your best, keep that calm and collected mindset all the way through. So if you have that mask requirement for your business, you're complying with local rules, you're trying to keep your business licensed, you're trying to avoid any adverse impact, and they just will not comply, at this point, I believe it crosses over into the realm of a trespass issue and not a public health compliance issue. So if you have someone, you are refusing business to them because they're not complying with the rules of mask wearing or something else, that person is on your property illegally. And if you need to contact law enforcement to remove a trespasser, then so be it. It's, again, not a mask wearing or not wearing mask issue. This is a, ability to refuse business to someone because they're not complying with those rules. I would say for a while, and we'll talk about this next, the vaccinations underway, that mask mandate is likely to remain at least for the foreseeable future. But the mask rule, if you're going to have it in place, you have to apply it uniformly across all of your employees and all of your customers. So if you are creating exceptions, if you're letting one person off, not enforcing it here, not enforcing it there, what's the harm? Then it starts to break down. So make sure you're keeping that uniformly applied. So what to do if somebody is vaccinated? This again is another challenging scenario. If their risk is low because they're already vaccinated and the risk of transmission to others is low because they are vaccinated, why do they need to wear a mask? Well, vaccination is not a risk elimination measure. It's a risk management measure. You know, the virus vaccines have been well documented to not be 100% effective. So there still is that risk factor. And I'll jump down here to the bottom and say, because of that risk, you never know, what that risk factor is for the person that you're talking to or the person who's visiting your agritourism business. So while the science and while the guidance remains in place to wear masks, to distance from one another, my recommendation would be continue to follow that. Create a comfortable atmosphere for those people who may have a higher risk, may have family members they're trying to protect, but still take all the precautions while leading as much of a normal life as possible. The incentive is to get back to normal as quickly as possible, and I think those mask requirements will be relaxed once the immunity level is achieved or once the science supports relaxing those standards. But be careful when you're seeking vaccination proof from customers and employees. On the employee side, you don't want to violate any equal employment opportunity laws, so no civil rights issues. So don't find out anything related to genetic information or specific health information for that employee to protect yourself there. And then customers, again, be safe about how you are interacting with them on the vaccination proof front. And if you're seeking proof of that, avoiding any privacy violations you might commit. Try and go about that as delicately as possible, and you might end up having to take someone's word for it there in the end. So what are my risks if I don't follow state and local rules? One of the more well-documented instances of not following rules have resulted in state-issued permits being revoked. If you operate a business that depends on a liquor permit, for example, compliance with the rules, even if you object to them, might be worth it compared to losing the license you need to operate. But this can differ from county to county. If you get local authorities start to take you seriously and start to target you, that heavy-handed enforcement action or cease and desist orders can follow. And if you don't end up want to pay attorneys a bunch of money to defend that and to get it overturned or to protect your business, then I would recommend, again, compliance here. But that approach that you take with local authorities, and this was something that was a problem early on. They were, landowners, business owners were combative with local public health authorities, with folks who are just trying to do their job and just trying to do what the science or what the directives from the state tell them to do. So, being combative and being aggressive and being threatening to those individuals will very rarely, if ever, achieve a positive outcome. Work together. There is a way to balance their public health interests with your need to operate a business. And this, I think, is something that has improved here in recent months. So lastly, are there strategies that I can employ to reduce my risk? The shortest and safest answer is follow the rules are in place. That's not to say that any of those rules aren't objectionable or that they weren't, passed under questionable circumstances or that they don't cause harm to your business. I'm not trying to downplay the challenges that agritourism operators and other business operators have to deal with in the last 12 months. But the rules are in place for a reason. And, as long as you're able to follow them to the best of your abilities and maintain a business that's afloat, again, I would encourage you to reduce your risk by maintaining those rules in your operation. An emergency plan should be a must-have at this stage. So what to do if you have employees that test positive, notifying other individuals, planning for employee shortages if some of them have to stay home. Can you even continue to operate at all? These are all questions that your emergency plan around COVID should address. So if you haven't had those conversations with employees and as a business unit, this would be a really good time to delve into it. If you need to limit traffic or control visitors that are coming into your farm, I believe there are all sorts of options online to have ticketed events or ticketed opportunities that's going to control the flow of people on there and help reduce that risk of infection, again, for other customers and for your employees. And the last point I'll make is talking with your insurance carrier about how your liability coverage impacts your risk here as a business owner. I'm not an insurance expert. I'm not an insurance agent, but I think your own insurance agents should have some great information there on what insurance coverage could be in play for this particular subject. So that is my discussion for today. It was very different having to do this in a recorded format. Of course, I wish that we could all be together in person. If it's any consolation, I've had my mask right here next to me the whole time. I did not wear it. I was thankful for that because it makes presenting a whole lot easier. If you need to get a hold of our office, this is my contact information, and our website is ohiofarmlaw.com. So thanks again for listening and for watching here. I hope that the information was beneficial, and best of luck to your businesses and your farms as we get into the spring growing season.